Hey, what's up, guys? Nathan Motter here with Labyrinth Gaming. I got a top 4 Despia list at locals here, but 38 players. We had 6 rounds. I lost round 2 to unfortunate hands. Opponent had everything, like actually everything. But this deck feels fantastic. It's Despia, just pure. I'm playing, we'll just start. Playing 3 Alubers. This card's the bread and butter. It literally does what you want the deck to do. It gets you branded fusion. It's gonna get your whole engine running, and you just outgrind people when that stuff starts happening. So after that is the 3 Tragedy. I'm playing 3 Tragedy because this is a 50 card build. This card's good to open, not in multiples, but because this card deck is 50, you're not gonna see 2 of this in the same hand. Like very rare to see 2. This is good with poly. This is good with branded opening, just to be able to recur resources. The 1 comedy, the 1 ad lib, and the 1 dramaturge. So this card, essentially you dump this off the fusion if you already have a Tragedy in hand. This card's really good, especially if you think your opponent has Valor or Imperm. You can add this to your hand and then normally a Luber, get the negation there. And then of course dodges Imperm and Valor on your Lubellion. This card's pretty really good. The on-field effect like never comes up, but it boosts, and when it's used for a fusion summon, you just reborn any of your Despia monsters and your or any of your fusions that are banished in the grave. And then Dramaturge, just big 3K that keeps coming back, and like on summon of a extra deck monster, you can negate it. So when they summon Verte or Hulk, you just deal with it. So that's pretty standard lineup for like the Despia monsters. Some people play 2 with a Tragedy, and some people don't play comedy, but I think in this build I like it, the numbers they are. And then we have 2 Albaz. So the reason I'm playing 2 is it's bad to open the 1, but if you're playing the 1, it's bad to open the 1. But if you're playing 2, it's fine to open 1. This card's a decent normal summon into, like, especially if your opponent's already used DPE effect and they didn't pop their own DPE, you just poly off with their DPE. Make your own Mirror Jade. Again, of course, it's your branded fusion target, so you got to play at least 1. I play the Patchwork Engine. I play 3 Chain. If you open this card, and with branded fusion, you can pitch this off Lubellion for cost, which inherently just gains you advantage. And then of course polys are really strong. We play the DPE. I'm like not sold on this. You cannot what's the word I'm looking for? Make Verte like reliably every turn 1, because so many things lock you into fusions. So I'm not playing Verte. This would essentially, you can play the Mali Denier, which I played before the structure that came out, but I thought to myself, if I just go off Chimera draws, and you can also dump these as like your, for Lubellion effect, and you can shuffle these guys back with Lubellion effect if you do see both, or you can just hard make DP with poly. They're like pseudo bricks, but they are bricks. So that's like the monsters for like engine stuff. We have hand traps here, 3 Ash, because there's a lot of people here playing Despia, so this card's busted in the mirror. 2 Nib, because I don't want to see too many of this, and again, I was expecting a lot of Despia, and this doesn't hurt Despia that much. They play under 5 summons, a lot of their hands. 2 Bell, because again, this hits Despia. It also hits DPE, it hits Tri-Brigade, it hits a lot of weird stuff. And then 2 Valor and 2 Imperm, both do the same thing, but this one doesn't play any tactics. I played a lot of 2-ofs for this spell card right here, Crossout Designator. So this card's insane, especially in the mirror match, calling any of your like branded fusion and stuff like that. But hitting the Ash, hitting the Bell, Valor, or Imperm on all your monsters is just so good with this card. I don't think I play this deck without this card in it. So there's that for the hand traps, and then the of course the cross out, which is why I'm playing the 2-ofs, right? The Nib could be other stuff if your locals doesn't play combo. But onto like the other spells. This is the power spell, absolutely insane. This can dump any light or dark, so depending on the fusion we make. But this card can dump stuff like, Mali, if you want to go into like a play where you hard make a DPE, if you play that. You can dump Necro Banshee, which I do play on the side, which I did to a Thunderease player and a D-Link player today. So like they can't play with half the deck. Plus this dumps your Tragedy, dumps Comedy, dumps Ad Lib. This card's absolutely insane. It is Shaddoll Fusion without having your opponent have to do anything, which is why you play the cross out, because you want this to resolve. Next spells, 3 branded in red. So the third one never came up today, But I don't think you should play 2 of this, because opening this card is also a way to dodge Veiler and Imperm on your Lubellion. So because if you go Lubellion effect pitch a card and they have the Imperm or Veiler and you don't have like the out it, like cross out or comedy, this card, you can activate this card, grab your Albaz back to hand, banish the Lubellion and the Albaz to make a Mirror Jade, and then you can banish finish the Lubellion effect and shuffle back itself and Albaz, make another Mirror Jade, which they're soft ones per turn, so you can use both the effects, or you can put back the Tragedy you sent along with the Albaz and get like a Masquerade, which is pretty good. Paying 6 making your opponent pay 6 is absolutely insane. Put some on a clock. 3 opening. This is another way to get to your Albaz, or not your Albaz, I'm sorry, your Aluber, which again is like your starter. Plus it's Balinks in the graveyard for card effect, which is absolutely insane. It came up so much today against like DPE and other stuff like that. I'm playing the 1 Theater. This card in rotation, if the opponent can't get rid of this, you're keeping your Mirror Jade alive constantly with a Luber. So they out your Mirror Jade effect, and a Luber effect, just Chain Link 2, bring out a Luber. They run over the Aluber, this just brings back your Mirror Jade, and your Mirror Jade's alive again for another banish. And it's a graveyard effect still resolves, because it doesn't have to be there, because it's already activated, because it's just like DPE. But this card's also just Poly, so which is really good. Then I played 2 Patchwork and 2 Poly. I'd rather see the Chain over this, because you can, like, this card is not good to open multiples of, so I don't want to play 3 of this. 2 Poly, again, you don't want to open multiples of this, because like you need monsters with this card, and opening multiples of this does absolutely nothing for you. So I think it's a pretty decent engine number. Like 7 cards for an engine isn't bad, especially when Chain synergizes really well with opening Lubellion and just Poly in general if you open Poly with it. Then the power 1-ofs, Foolish and Call by the Grave. These cards are really good. This is a starter. This makes your plays go through, and it also hits a lot of their other graveyard effects like Seals in the graveyard, their DPE, their a whole bunch of other stuff. And then we're playing 2 Fusion Destiny, because you can't play 3. And I'm only playing 2 Super Poly. This probably should have been 3 in the deck, especially since I was playing 50. I saw this maybe 3 times today. 6 rounds, seeing it 3 times, and I sided the 3rd. So putting in 3 against the mirror match, or against like a Dragon Link, or any deck that I can like make Mud Dragon on, like Prank Kids. But yeah, I did find myself like not really seeing this card very often, because it is a 50 card build and you can't Verte. So there is a, how to put this, thought of maybe cutting the Fusion Destiny package, like DPE in general, because this deck does just grind really well with its main engine, and this allows you 4 extra spots in the main deck to either cut it down to 46, at least this one, and cut an extra deck spot to either play like a Link 1 for when you open like one of your level 1s in Brennan and Red, or play a Dark Charmer, or play another Fusion. So that's the main deck. There's some things I can change about it, but I'm not going to go into details about that. We'll go over the side here for the extra deck. The side needs works on. It's not like the best. I just kind of threw it together. Some of these cards are like really good. Some of these cards are just kind of like, play the Gamma package. So this card, you just want to put this in going second. You don't want to play this going first. This card's just so broken. This card's a good side card. 3 Phantasmate. This is like hit or miss. I put this in 1 time today because my opponent plays Link monsters. Other than that, it didn't really go in because either I was going first or my opponent wasn't playing like a Link summon deck. So this can be a different hand trap or something else. It's not mandatory, I don't think. Gamma is. For back row, you play the Red Reboot and the 3 Twins. So this synergizes with Chain and also just helps pop things. You're not really scared of Scythe in this deck because you just play on their turn. So hitting like 2 back row cards plus Red Reboot for the Flunderies matchup, and this is for Flunderies as well. But this against the trap, where you have Diju, you hit them with this and they just die. They die right then and there. And then this is like the cool stuff. Necro World, Banshee, and 1 Zombie World. You don't need any more of this because Fusion is a Foolish Burial. So you dump this. So you have 4 Foolish Burials to dump this. And then you can always hold this a card for like when Zombie World's going to affect them the most instead of just doing it right away. That's what I found was most effective. In case they have, like against Flunderies, this is an auto win. Against Dragon Link, it's very hard for them to play around this without having like an extender on top of their normal summon. And then even then they can't make Romulus. I don't think they can make Seals because that's 2 dragons. So, and they can't make Striker. So this card's like very good against that matchup. I played the 3rd Super Poly. and I played one droplet. Now, this was like I was at 14 cards, and I was like, what the heck do I put in? And then I was like, well, if I get droplets turn or game 1, I just side the one of for crossouts, essentially. It never came up. I didn't get droplet once today. I don't think a lot of people are playing this card, solely for the fact that like hand traps are kind of just better, and a lot of decks don't really capitalize off this, like PK. There's not a lot of PK players here, but PK can capitalize off this card. And then we'll go to the extra deck. The extra deck's kind of like nothing really special about it. It's just 2 Mirror Jade, 2 Lebellion, and 2 Albion, sorry, for your branded stuff. I made this once today, because I had both the DPE bricks engraved, and I banished them mostly because I just sent a light by accident, and then I was like, oh shit, I gotta make this, and I just banished them, summoned DPE, and it was enough for game. This also can attack when it uses effects, so summoning this can attack. So you can 5k right there. And this card's broken. It inherently just makes your grind game better. The fact that this triggers when it by opponent's card when it leaves the field, to regeki their board on end phase. At that moment, they have to have a response right then and there, because on end phase, it's just like DPE when it resolves in the standby phase. This resolves in the end phase, blow up their board, and most of the time, you're just going to kill them on the follow-up. So there's those 6 cards. One thing I will say is the second one of this comes up not as much as you think it would. I played this deck the other day at another locals, and the second one never came up, and I considered cutting the second one today. But I decided not to, and I don't remember if it actually was game-changing if I played the second one. I think I can change this to a Titaniclad, I mean, because that card, you can also make that card, and it gets really big depending on the materials you send, which helps to run over things and do like some nifty little OTKs under Nibiru. Since we're playing Poly Package, 2 Masquerade, I don't think you need the third since you have the new cards, because this isn't like burn WinCon. You play the 1 Queritus. I didn't make this once today, but it does come up. It's like one of those cards where when you enter a simplified game state and your opponent has like no interaction and they're low on life points because of Masquerade, if you make this, make all their monsters 0, and most of the time with this, and like if you had a Dramaturge that you used to make this, you go Dramaturge 1, this 2, because everything's 0, Dramaturge then summons, and you have 5,500 attack to run over monsters that are 0 attack. So, and you can make this with Branded Red. Branded Red says you can't attack directly, so if they have monsters, it doesn't matter. Like this, so you can hit over the monsters. You can do it in battle phase, you can do it, it's very strong. The 1 Proskyneon, I didn't make this at all today, mainly because, like I said, I didn't see Super Poly like at all, and you only really make this card with Super Poly. You can also make this card with polymerization, which isn't bad, but 3 monsters of your own is kind of like, I'd rather make Chimera, which is what we're going into now, because this card pops, draws, you make it on your opponent's turn, can't be targeted because we're playing the polymerization, which comes up. I had 2 opponents today ask me, so I can't target this? And I go, no, you can't target it because I poly engrave. And then Drago Stapelia, this card's crazy. It won me a grind game against a Dragon Link player with their DPE on board, and my Mirror Jade getting negated twice. So every time they DPE effect, after they'd already Celestial Banish, so this was 27 to the 25, I kept negating it, and he just couldn't do anything. Mud Dragon, I didn't make it all today. Again, I didn't see Super Poly. I would change something on the main deck to put like the 3rd Super Poly in. So I definitely think at 50, you want to play the 3 Super Poly, because it does come up against a lot of matchups, even the ones you don't think it will, because everybody's playing DPE. So you can use their DPE in your own dark to make this, because depending on the matchup, like Invoked with Mechaba and DPE, right? Or anything that inherently has like on summon effects, this card like really deals with. And then 1 DPE. Like I said, I don't think this card's mandatory in this deck, because you don't make Verte. Like at all, you can't make Verte. Like if you're somehow getting 2 monsters on board, one of them's a fusion and one of them's your normal summon Aluber. So you're not sacrificing a fusion to go into Verte. It doesn't make any sense. So
just do me next. I'm Cam, Modder's teammate. I taught him everything he knows about the deck. I also played.
No, he didn't.
I also played. It's actually the other way around. I also played this deck today, and I thought it was sick. First time playing it. I misplayed a couple times, but we learned. And my build is definitely different than his. So, Anyway, 3 Alibur, duh. 2 Tragedy. This card's awesome. 1 Comedy. I didn't resolve it at all, but in theory it comes out, right? One ad lib. This thing summons stuff, and it's really cool.
2 of that can come up.
Yeah, I agree. And then, but like Mater was saying, this is like really good for the play where you banish your own Mirror Jade, summon it back, and then you have Chimera and Mirror Jade live again. 2 Fallen of Albaz. I loved summoning this card, actually. I like drew it, and like it was really good.
I think 2 is the correct number. I think if you play 1, you're going to really regret when you open it.
Yeah, I also technically play 3 because I play 1 Ecclesia. This is really, really good in the mirror. It's super accessible off of Branded Fusion because all it needs to do is be in the graveyard and have a fusion sent to grave. And then going second, this is Albaz Super Poly Kana. My build is different because I played Dogmatica cards. So I played 1 Ecclesia and 1 Fleur-de-Lis the Knighted. I thought these cards were extra good today because like whenever my Mirror Jade gets interrupted, these cards and Titaniclad like ensure that I have monsters on the field for Branded in Red. So like I already had Branded in Red access and my Mirror Jade got ogred. So instead of sending the well no, because I sent this cost. But I sent Titaniclad because this summons this and this puts a card in hand so that whenever I want a Branded in Red, I have monsters on field to make Chimera.
And cards in hand as well.
And cards in hand, correct. I also played 1 Golden Lord. I might cut this, but it's really funny. If I summon this, you're dead. You can just like...
It's a comedy, isn't it? What?
You just... Shut up. You just foolish this with a Branded Fusion and make Albion, which makes another fusion, and then this can summon itself. Something I did today was I didn't use Tragedy's effect to search, but I used its effect to banish and set 1, and then I had this engrave, summoned it, and killed my opponent. Also plays really good into DPE, and going second, you just send something. Played a ton of hand traps, 3 Bell, 3 Nib, 3 Ash. Dude, Ash Blossom's so good.
It's so broken.
I just love this card. And then I played 3 Imperm.
It's so quote-unquote low impact, but it hits the power cards of like what's going to be in the meta. Especially after this next ban list. I don't see this ban list being small.
Yeah, it hits this card. Foolish Burial at 3 also summons Mirror Jade from your extra deck. Unless your Lubellion got Imperm, but that didn't happen all day.
Comedy.
Branded Opening. I didn't get to do the Protect effect as much as Nathan did, but
It was every game.
this card's really good. I like Tragedy at 3 because if you pitch it off this, it gets its effect because it's not cost to discard. But sometimes I did this and pitched Golden Lord and whew. Branded in Red cards so good. It's like it's Revolt but better. But I played this card. This card is wild. I don't know why lists aren't playing this. It seems so free. There's like no bricks because Ecclesia is she just summons herself and this sends anything you want.
You can search Albaz with that card as well.
Yes, also that. I never did that.
No, you're never going to, but you can.
Also played Prosperity. I want to see the cards that help me win the game, and I think this does it. And I don't think that it's as hard to Prosperity for 6 as some other people do.
I think it's pretty easy to sit for banish 6 because you play off your hand.
Yeah. And then 3 Crossout, card's crazy. If you draw Branded Fusion and Crossout, you just like whatever. And then Called By and Foolish Burial. I love Foolish Burial. It's my favorite card. I'll do extra first. 3 Lube.
2.
Oh. 2 Lube. 2 Jade. And 2 Albion. Albion's sick. I love dumping this off of Nadir Servant. 2 Masquerade. One of these goes for Prosperity usually, but I'd rather just have it. I did make this a bunch of times. One play that I was really happy with was I normaled I like Foolish for Tragedy, I added Aluber, normal Aluber, and they Imperm. So I had the Branded in Red, and I added the Tragedy back and fused Aluber and Tragedy for this. So then my Aluber resolves, and now they have to play through a Masquerade that was essentially free. 2 Guardian Chimera. This is like the reason I want to play this deck is like, look at the fucking art, dude. This shit is sweet. Also draw 2, pop card, or pop 2, draw card. Also 33, big. I played Titaniclad, El Dragon, whatever that says. This card's sweet. I summoned it once, it didn't help. But, summon Ecclesia on end phase is crazy.
I'm pretty sure I want to play that card.
Yeah. Draco Sepelia is sweet. I play Entis for punishment, but it doesn't happen as often as you think it does. And then I also played prosthesis.
Proscale.
Yeah, prosthesis. He's good. You super poly into him like Mater said. It's crazy. And then I play 1 Striker Dragon. I summoned this once today, so in theory, if you see Albaz and branded in red and your hand sucks, you can summon Albaz, link into this, and then branded in red to unbrick yourself with Guardian Chimera. I actually did it. And then my side deck is kind of the same. I played these. I played this. This should be a 3. I don't know why I played 1.
You didn't have to, you said. You left them at home.
Yeah, I left them at home. 3 twin. This could be Cosmic, honestly. 3 D barrier. I think going forward, it'll be 3 of this and 1 D barrier. I am afraid of this card, so like having it for crossout would be really sweet. 3 Super Pali. I think this card should probably be in the main. But, I mean, it came up when it came up, and yeah. And then I played Dimension Shifter.
And the card's not bad in the deck, even in my version. The big thing about that card is you put it in for only when you know you're going second, and only in the decks it like auto wins to. Because again, you set up your shit with Super Poly, or you just make a Mirror Jade, and then try to either OTK through your own, or set up your plays to just make slow roll them, because they can't play through that. A lot of decks can't play through that.
Yeah,
So
the decks that lose the shifter really lose the shifter, and my deck like doesn't actually lose the shifter. You'd think it does, but since Tragedy says if it's used or sent to the graveyard as by a card effect or banished, that's like the only real confliction there. Like maybe you don't get to set up your branded in red, but if your opponent's under shifter, you're winning the game.
yeah,
so.
100%.
Shout out Labyrinth Gaming. Shout out Takeover Gaming, coming soon to the central Pennsylvania area.
Yes.
Maybe not. But yeah, for sure. Shout out definitely maybe a podcast. That's my podcast. And I think we're funny.
Yeah.
And on the next episode, Mater will be on there, so.
Am I?
No.
I don't know if you want me on there. It'll be a 17-hour podcast. Just me talking. All right, signing off.